Make Believers. In today's video, I am doing the Aesthetically Pleasing book tag because books are so beautiful inside and out. Question 1 is, what do I find to be the best color combo on a book cover? I've never really thought about this until this question, but I think I tend to be drawn to obviously a contrast of dark and light, and especially black and gold. I think my cat's under there kicking my camera. Will you stop it? Question 2 is, what is the best typography / font on a book cover? I do not know what this font is called, but I absolutely love the font on the Lunar Chronicles books. Question 3 is the best simple cover. This entire series has covers that I think are fairly simple, and I love them all, but one that stands out to me, probably because it's the first one I saw in the series, is Red Queen. I love this cover. I love the simplicity of it, but also how it gives you so much information on the story whilst being so simple. So you just have the plain, simple font saying Red Queen, and it says power is a dangerous game, and then you have this awesome but simple picture of a crown. But the crown, my friends, is upside down, and the crown is silver, and it's dripping red blood. And if you have read Red Queen, then you just get the brilliant symbolism of this simple, effective, awesome cover. Question 4 is best end pages. I found this one slightly difficult to answer. It took me a while to think of a book that had nice end pages, but I did manage to think of one book where the end pages really strike you. It's after the story. You've read about 525 pages, I think, of an epic story, and then you have the author's note. And the author's note is before the acknowledgements, and it ties in so beautifully to the story, and it also just makes you be like, yeah! Now we rise! And if you have read this book, then you know the book that I've just quoted, and that is Children of Blood and Bone. In the author's note, the last sentence is, now let's rise. And throughout the book, she's talking about how they are going to rise, the character Zili in the book, how they are going to rise up and fight against those that are oppressing them. And basically, Tomi Adeyemi, who is the author, in her author's note, goes on to discuss certain things that have been happening in the world, such as police brutality, and how it's time for all of us who have stayed quiet to now rise up and raise our voices. So I absolutely loved, I have to say, the end pages of this book. Question 5 is the best map. One author who seems to do the maps so well is Leigh Bardugo, especially in Crooked Kingdom. So I of course love the original first map, which I think we also see in Six of Crows if I'm not mistaken, but what I also love in Crooked Kingdom is that she then goes on to give us a map of Ketterdam. And you see so many familiar places that are mentioned throughout the book. You see it happening here, and you can see them walking through these streets, and it's fantastic. Question 6 is best naked hardback. This one was actually surprising for me to choose, because at first I was like, oh, you know, there's not that many nice ones, and then when I thought about it, I was like, actually no, there's 2 on my shelf, 3 actually, but I'm gonna go with my top 2 on my shelf that I actually really like. They're not just plain, they have a little something more to them. One of those is Carve the Mark by Veronica Roth. I'm not sure how well this shows, but you basically have a map of the world engraved on the front of this hardback cover, and it's beautiful. The second favorite hardback cover of mine when it's naked is Confessions of an Ugly Stepsister by Gregory Maguire. He is the author of Wicked. What I love about this cover is that as you see it, she's inside a pumpkin, and there's Cinderella, or I think it's Cinderella, maybe it's the Ugly Stepsister, and there's, I'm guessing, the handsome prince, and it's beautiful, and it goes around, and it's very, very nice. However, when you take off the cover, you open up the scene and you see inside the pumpkin, you see there she is, there's the prince, and that is the naked cover. Like that is it, and it goes on the other side as well. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Question 7 is best back cover. I find that a lot of back covers are not that involved or detailed, kind of like end pages. However, some back covers that I always find intriguing are the ones on the back of the Throne of Glass series. For instance, on the front of Throne of Glass, we have Selena Sardothian in all her combat glory with her swords, and it's awesome and it's great. But then you turn it over and you have her with the same weapons, but she's in a beautiful, glorious dress. And I'll show you Crown of Midnight because the colors are a bit brighter, so maybe it's easier to see. But again, in Crown of Midnight, there she is in all her combat glory with her swords raised, and she's ready to, you know, kill. Yet on the back, there she is again in the same killer pose with the same weapons and swords. However, she's in a beautiful red gown. Question 8 is the best chapter headings, and this honor is going to somebody that I've already mentioned on this tag, and that is Leigh Bardugo. So I originally thought of the Six of Crows Crooked Kingdom chapter headings because I absolutely love those. But then I remembered that she's actually done it so well in her Grisha trilogy series. We have the subtle elemental gifts woven into this beautiful heading, plus we have the palace there, which is just awesome. And you know, I don't know, but I think that this is intentionally dark to represent the Darkling, but it's just an awesome, amazing chapter heading crest. Question 9 is best illustrations. Now obviously one book comes to mind, but I'm trying not to mention this one book in this tag. So another book that actually came to mind with some great illustrations, and I love how it's done, is The Language of Thorns. It's official, Leigh Bardugo is definitely an aesthetically pleasing author. And basically in this book, it's a collection of short stories, fairy tales from the world of the Grisha. And I love basically how the illustration begins at the beginning of the story, and as you go through the story, the illustrations continue to grow until you start to get to the last pages of the story. I don't know if you can see the vines have risen all the way up, and then you end with a fantastically drawn, beautiful illustration that represents the story so well, but of course you have to read the story to understand the illustration. Question 10 is best book spine. I love the covers of the Ludo Chronicles for a number of reasons. The texture is amazing, soft and velvety, and the font, as I've already touched on, is beautiful, but I particularly like the spine for winter, and that is because not only is it a beveled title, which they all have, and not only is it velvety smooth, which they all have, but I just love this image of the apple and the hand, and I think it's because it of course makes me think of Snow White. It is just such a iconic symbol, and you know, the poisoned apple, you know, it's the lingering threat born from Snow White. Question 11 is, what is the favorite cover on your shelves? I honestly did not think I was going to be able to do this. It was really difficult when I was going through it. I was like, oh, I love this and I love this and I love this, but actually there is a cover on my shelf that no matter how many times I look at it and no matter how long I look at it for, I just love it. And that is surprisingly Heartless by Marissa Mayer. Again, Marissa Mayer and Leigh Bardugo are winning this one. But again, it's got that nice velvety, smooth, awesome feeling that she does. But then these are nicely raised. These are the thorns and they're coming up and they're beautiful. And I love how in Heartless there is a sword that is being used for the T. Can you see that? And then on top of the T sword, there is a crown, and I just love the contrast of the red and the black. I would say that red and black is probably my next favorite after gold and black combination on a front cover. I just think it's so pretty. It's just so pretty. And that is all of the aesthetically pleasing book tag. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Do you enjoy looking at the books on the outside as much as reading them and discovering what's on the inside? And if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you like all the other videos I do, then please consider subscribing. And until next time, I'll see you. Bye!